The death of a young man from the Central Australian community of Yuendumu has sparked a feud between families that's driven 100 people interstate. Many in the community want to deal with the issue using traditional law. They say while the community is split, that can't happen and there'll be no resolution for the grieving family or for the community. They say their law is still law and it's being broken. Anna Henderson reports.
One thing that'll bring cure to us and plus make us satisfied is if they only come back from Adelaide and go through their tribal punishment. That's how the system, Aboriginal system, runs.
The policy is that we do not tolerate any form of traditional payback method. We simply can't sit by and let somebody be assaulted in front of police.
This street rally in Alice Springs last month was a show of force from prominent Aboriginal men campaigning against high levels of violence in Central Australia.
We need to get across to the world, our community out there, black and white, that all of us are against violence.
Community and family violence has been the focus of the federal government intervention in remote Aboriginal communities. But the resources of the intervention were not enough to prevent violent clashes in the remote community of Yuendumu, 300 kilometres northwest of Alice Springs.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. Everybody gone wild. It's just like a warriors. It was just really out of control.
Burnt out cars and damaged property show the extent of the violence that erupted in Yuendumu last month in the wake of an alcohol-fuelled stabbing death of a young man in an Alice Springs town camp. In the past, a customary law response to such a death has involved tribal punishment, sometimes referred to as payback. But so far that hasn't happened in this case.
They'll be hurt, yes. All of them will get hurt. It'll be lots of blood shed, but that's how it's going to be.
It's Aboriginal traditional weapons.
At a sorry camp, family members are grieving the death of the young man. They say tribal punishment would put an end to the differences between the feuding families in Yuendumu. But the people from the community facing punishment are now in Adelaide.
You know, life is so precious, and because of we grieve because of what happened to my brother. That's why.
So, if your family could have traditional payback, this would be resolved?
Yes. If it's possible. Would it be possible?
The police policy is very clear on this, and we do not tolerate any form of payback, and we can't condone it.
Look, there's no place at all for violence, and so our government's been very clear on the issue of payback. If it involves violence, the answer is no. There is no place for perpetrating violence.
Traditional punishment has long been enforced in Northern Australia.
Payback did work traditionally, and payback was all about sorting the problems out when your blood's hot, and that worked well then, but it doesn't work now because of the alcohol that's involved. And I think there needs to be a mediation. There needs to be mediation now.
This documentary explains how punishment is delivered in the community of Lajamanu.
It's a process where a blood to be shed, well, it's got to be some kind of spearing. Right, with the spearing sort of taking place, it's also symbolic in a way that the blood is shed, and it's a purification aspect there as well, where it cleans the slate. And people say, yes, punishment did take place, and it happened this way, and yes, it's been sorted out.
In an example of tribal punishment, an anthropologist told Stateline he witnessed a man being stabbed during the annual Yuendumu Sports Day in a community-sanctioned and organised event. The man was stabbed several times in his leg as family members held onto him, and police were told not to interfere.
There's been incidents in the past before the intervention, and it was dealt with. And in fact, the territory law actually recognised that as a process of tribal punishment being used, and it sort of eliminated a lot of other issues. And it worked in the past.
We deal with serious issues like this, through our law by payback, but whitefellow law says, you do it accordingly to our law, and this is how we do it. And it's totally two different laws clashing with each other, and I don't think, it's not helping our people.
The 100 Yuendumu residents who travelled to Adelaide by bus and car to avoid the conflict have now been moved into temporary accommodation at a police academy. It's been an embarrassing situation for the Territory Government. They want to know who paid for the buses.
What sort of reckless idiot would encourage 109 people, elderly people, people with illnesses, children, to get on buses and go to Adelaide without any consultation with the South Australian authorities to accommodate those people? No plan to return those people.
I'm not sure who paid for the bus. I'm not sure who arranged the bus. I'm not sure, what bus company it was. But the fact remains, these people felt so insecure about their protection of men, women and children that they took the decision to move to South Australia.
The community people in Adelaide have been urged to return home to face punishment, but they've indicated they won't be going back for at least 3 weeks. Their return could lead to blood being spilt, but it's also possible differences could be resolved without using spears or knives.
The tribal punishment has to be introduced back, and we feel because of the younger people are now getting away with a lot of these things, and we feel that that should come back.
We want them back, and it's best to deal with it than not to run away with it.
Anna Henderson reporting.